Picture this. It is 3:47 in the morning on March 4th, 1992. The streets of Bratislava are empty and silent. Most of the city is asleep, but one man is wide awake. He stands in the shadows outside a ground-floor apartment on Gorkaho Street, in the very heart of the city. The window is open, not wide, just a crack, just enough. He looks left, he looks right. No one is watching. Then he does something strange. He reaches down to his feet and pulls off his socks. Not because his feet are hot. He pulls those socks over his hands, stretching them over his fingers like gloves. Why? Because socks do not leave fingerprints. Inside the apartment, 67-year-old Matilda Urbanova lies in her bed, deep in sleep. She has no idea that in the next 5 minutes she will be beaten to death in her own bedroom. She has no idea that the man outside her window has already killed 8 other people across Europe. She has no idea that she is about to become the 9th and final victim of the most brutal serial killer in the history of Slovakia. His name is Ondrej Rigo. Police called him the Spider because he climbed into apartments like an insect crawling silently into the dark corners of a room. The media called him the Sock Killer because at every single crime scene, investigators found the same chilling signature, a man's sock left behind like a twisted calling card. For 18 months, from the summer of 1990 to the spring of 1992, he moved across 3 countries: Munich, Germany, Amsterdam, Netherlands, Bratislava, Slovakia. He killed 9 people. He sexually abused their dead bodies, he robbed them, and then he vanished into the night. Women in Bratislava locked their windows in terror, even during the hottest summer nights. Elderly women who lived alone were too terrified to sleep. Police in 3 countries searched for a predator they could not see, could not name, and could not stop. And when they finally caught him, when the DNA evidence and the stolen jewelry and the blood on his shoes all pointed directly at him, Ondrej Rigo looked investigators in the eye and said one thing: "I did not do it." He never confessed to a single murder, not one. This is his story. Every name you will hear is real. Every date is verified. Every crime is documented. This is the true story of Ondrej Rigo, the boy born into violence, the drifter who became a killer, the investigation that used DNA evidence for the first time in Slovak history, and the trial that locked him away forever. To understand the monster, you have to go back to the beginning. December 17th, 1955, a small town in western Slovakia called Modra, a poor Roma family living on the edge of survival, and a baby boy, the first of 6 children, named Ondrej Rigo. His father was not a working man. His father was a criminal, a career thief, in and out of prison for burglaries, break-ins, and theft. When Ondrej was still a boy, his father was shot and killed. He was 38 years old. The family had no money, no stability, and no way out. His mother worked as a cleaner in a hotel, scrubbing floors and washing sheets to keep food on the table. She did her best, but it was not enough to protect her children from what was coming. In the year 2000, she was struck and killed by a car. Even from behind bars, locked in a maximum security prison, Ondrej Rigo spoke of her with rare emotion. He said he loved his parents. He said when he heard his mother was dead, he cried. But love does not erase trauma, and Ondrej Rigo's childhood was built on trauma. He was the oldest of 6 children. One of his brothers suffered a severe head injury in an accident and was eventually committed to a psychiatric hospital. Another brother hanged himself in that same hospital. A third brother was convicted repeatedly for fraud and spent years in and out of prison. This was not a family. This was a slow-motion catastrophe. As a child, Ondrej wet the bed at night, a common sign of severe psychological distress. He got into fights constantly. He took blows to the head over and over again. In 1988, when he was 33 years old, 3 men attacked him with a metal pipe. The pipe struck his skull. He lost consciousness. He suffered a traumatic brain injury. Psychologists and forensic psychiatrists would later point to all of this: the childhood neglect, the violence, the head trauma, the absent father, the poverty, when trying to explain how Ondrej Rigo became what he became. But even in a broken home, not everyone becomes a killer. At the age of 14, authorities removed him from school due to severe behavioral problems. They placed him in a correctional facility for troubled youth. Later, he was transferred to a children's home. He skipped classes constantly. He repeated one school year because he failed mathematics. He had no interest in learning, no respect for rules, and no ability to conform. After finishing his basic education, he was drafted into the Czechoslovak army for mandatory military service. Even there, in a structured, disciplined environment, he could not follow orders. He violated military rules so many times that his commanders punished him repeatedly. His service, which should have lasted 2 years, was extended by 21 additional days as a penalty. At the age of 22, he married. The marriage collapsed quickly. Over the next decade, he lived with several more women in informal common law arrangements. He fathered a daughter. Later, he would brag to interrogators that he had been with about 100 women. He said he needed sex every day. He painted a picture of himself as a confident, sexually active man. But that image was a lie. He worked low-level, unstable jobs: stoker, gas technician, cloakroom attendant. But his real source of income was crime, theft, burglary, breaking and entering. By the time he reached his mid-30s, Ondrej Rigo had been convicted 9 times. He had served 6 separate prison sentences. He was a repeat offender, a petty criminal, a drifter. But up until 1989, he had never been convicted of a violent crime. He had never been convicted of a sexual crime. To the authorities, he was just another small-time thief, forgettable, invisible. And then, in December 1989, the borders opened, and Ondrej Rigo walked free. December 8, 1989. Across Central and Eastern Europe, the communist regimes are collapsing. In Czechoslovakia, the Velvet Revolution is sweeping through the streets. President Gustav Husak, the aging symbol of the old regime, signs a sweeping amnesty. Political prisoners are released. Common criminals serving time for non-violent offenses are released. Among them, Ondrej Rigo. On December 9, 1989, he walks out of Nitra prison in Slovakia. He is 34 years old. He has no job. He has no money. He has no plan. But for the first time in decades, the borders are open, and the West is waiting. The very next day, December 10, 1989, Ondrej Rigo crosses the border into Austria. He has no valid passport. He has no documents. He just walks across. He arrives in Vienna with nothing. He sleeps at train stations. He rides trains without paying. He survives on petty theft and handouts. Within days, he manages to obtain a forged Yugoslav passport. The name on the passport, Nado Ikic. With this fake identity, he plans to travel to Germany, where his brother is living in Cologne. But when he tries to cross the German border, guards inspect his documents. The forgery is detected. He is arrested. German authorities hold him in the Bad Reichenhall prison. Later, he is transferred to another facility in Bernau. On February 6, 1990, He is released. He is classified as a homeless foreign national and assigned to a refugee center in Furholzen, a small town near Freising, just outside Munich. He is given strict instructions: stay in the area, do not leave without permission. He ignores the order immediately. Over the next few months, he travels to Munich repeatedly. Police stop him multiple times for minor infractions. He blends into the city's underclass: drifters, refugees, homeless men living on the margins. No one pays attention to him. No one remembers his face. But something is building inside him.
In later interrogations, Rigo admitted that during his 10 months in Germany and the Netherlands, he had no sexual partners, not one. He said it was impossible. He blamed the language barrier. He blamed cultural differences. But the real reason was simpler. He had no money, no status, and no appeal. And the sexual frustration, the need he claimed to feel every single day, was building up inside him. By early June 1990, that frustration had reached a breaking point, and on a warm summer night in Munich, Ondrej Rigo found another way to satisfy it.
June 7th, 1990, late evening, Munich, Germany. It is a warm night. All across the city, people have their windows open to let in cool air. Ondrej Rigo walks through a quiet residential neighborhood. He is watching the buildings. He is looking for something specific: a ground floor apartment with an open window. He finds one. Inside, a 40-year-old woman named Helena S. is asleep in her bed. She lives alone. The window is open just a few inches. Rigo approaches silently. He climbs through the window. At first, his intention is probably just burglary. He wants to steal valuables while the occupant sleeps. But then something goes wrong. Helena wakes up. She sees him. In that moment, Ondrej Rigo makes a choice. He grabs a heavy object. Investigators were never able to determine exactly what it was, and he swings it. He strikes Helena in the head. She tries to scream, to fight back, but he strikes again, and again, and again. She stops moving, and then, standing over her dead body, Ondrej Rigo does something that will define every murder that follows. He sexually assaults her corpse. After he is finished, he searches the apartment. He steals what he can carry: cash, small valuables, anything he can sell or use. And when he leaves, climbing back out through the window and disappearing into the night, he leaves behind a single piece of evidence that will become his signature: a man's sock. The next morning, police arrive at the apartment. They find Helena's body. They find signs of forced entry. They find the sock. They have no suspect. They have no witnesses. They have no idea that this is just the beginning. July 31st, 1990. Less than 2 months have passed since the murder of Helena S. The investigation is ongoing, but police have no leads, and Ondrej Rigo is still in Munich. On this night, he finds another target. The victim is 27-year-old Ilka Z. She lives in a ground-floor apartment. It is another hot summer night, and she has left her balcony door slightly open. Rigo enters through that door. This time, he comes prepared. He brings a weapon with him, a metal pipe. He finds Ilka asleep in her bed. He does not hesitate. He raises the metal pipe and brings it down on her head. The blow fractures her skull. She dies almost instantly. But Rigo is not finished. During the sexual assault on her dead body, he takes a screwdriver and stabs her in the neck. He violates her both vaginally and anally. When he is done, he covers her body with a blanket, as if tucking her in. Then he searches the apartment methodically, room by room. He steals a gold necklace. He steals cash, an unknown amount of German currency, and once again he leaves behind evidence, the metal pipe and a man's sock. When police arrive the next morning, they begin to see a pattern. 2 murders, same city, same method of entry, same type of victim, women living alone in ground floor apartments, same cause of death, blunt force trauma to the head, same post-mortem sexual abuse, same theft of valuables, and in both cases, a man's sock left at the scene. German investigators begin to suspect they are dealing with a serial offender, but they have no name, no face, no clear leads, and within weeks, Ondrej Rigo will be gone. September 20th, 1990. German police catch Ondrej Rigo attempting to break into a kiosk in Munich. They bring him in for questioning, but they do not connect him to the murders. They see him as just another petty thief. After the interrogation, they release him with instructions to report back to the refugee center in Furholzen. He does not report back. Instead, he contacts his sister Helena, who is living in the Netherlands. Within days, he has crossed the border and disappeared into Amsterdam. German police have no idea where he has gone. 1 week later, on the night of September 27, 1990, Ondrej Rigo is walking through a residential neighborhood in Amsterdam. He is looking for the same thing he looked for in Munich, a ground floor apartment with an accessible window. He finds one. Inside, 36-year-old Ludmila H. is asleep in her bed. Rigo enters through the window. This time, he does not bring a weapon. Instead, he finds one nearby, a large stone weighing more than 5.5 kilograms, over 12 pounds. He lifts the stone with both hands. He raises it above his head, and he brings it down on Ludmila's skull. He strikes her again, and again, and again. When she is dead, he strips her body. He commits sexual acts with her corpse. Then he searches the apartment. He steals a camera, wristwatches, packs of cigarettes, and cash. He walks out into the Amsterdam night as if nothing has happened. The next day, September 28, 1990, Ondrej Rigo and his sister board a train and return to Slovakia. But the killing does not stop. It simply moves with him. October 6, 1990. Ondrej Rigo is back in Bratislava. He is home. But he is not finished. On this night, he targets a care home for the elderly in the city. The victim is 88-year-old Teresia R. She is frail, alone, and completely defenseless. She sleeps in a ground floor room with a balcony accessible from the street. Late at night, Rigo climbs onto the balcony. He enters her room. This time, he does not use a weapon. He uses his fists. He beats the elderly woman as she lies in her bed. He strikes her face, her head, her body. He beats her until she is dead. Then he robs the room. He takes her prayer books. He takes her rosary beads. He takes 4,000 Czechoslovak crowns in cash. And then he leaves. Under the balcony, investigators find 2 critical pieces of evidence: Dutch coins and cigarette butts. At the time, police do not realize the significance of those cigarette butts. But years later, the saliva on those butts will contain Ondrej Rigo's DNA. And that DNA will become the key to his conviction. January 3rd, 1991. It is past midnight in Bratislava. Most of the city is asleep. In a small ground floor apartment, 40-year-old Anna P. lies in bed next to her 14-year-old son, Juraj N. They are asleep. They are safe, or so they believe. Ondrej Rigo climbs through their window. He moves silently through the apartment, entering the bedroom where mother and son sleep side by side. He is carrying a wooden club. He raises it above his head. He brings it down on Anna's skull. Then he turns to the boy. He raises the club again. He strikes Juraj in the head. He crushes their skulls while they sleep. After both are dead, Rigo sexually assaults Anna's corpse. This is the only time he will kill a child. When police arrive the next morning, they find the body still in the bed. They find the weapon. They find signs of forced entry and theft. But they still have no suspect. The people of Bratislava are beginning to panic. Elderly women are terrified. Even young women are locking their windows at night, no matter how hot it is. The police know they are dealing with a serial killer, but they do not know who he is. January 25th, 1991. Only 3 weeks have passed since the murder of Anna and Juraj, and now, on the very same street, Ondrej Rigo strikes again. The victim is 79-year-old Františka K. She lives alone in a ground-floor apartment just a few buildings away from where Anna and her son were killed. She goes to bed early, as elderly women often do. The heating in her apartment is strong, so she leaves her window slightly open. Late that night, Rigo climbs through the window. He beats her to death with a heavy object. He sexually assaults her corpse. He robs the apartment, and then he disappears. By now, the city is in a state of terror. Women are afraid to sleep. Newspapers are reporting on the killings. Police are under immense pressure to find the killer, but they still have no name. July 14th, 1991. It is a hot summer night in Bratislava. 22-year-old Henrietta O. sits in her apartment, playing her guitar. She is young, talented, and full of life. She has been studying karate for several years. She is strong and capable. Around 2:30 in the morning, she finally puts down her guitar and goes to bed. Because of the heat, she leaves a small ventilation window open. In the next room, her grandmother is asleep. The old woman is almost completely deaf. She cannot hear what is about to happen. Ondrej Rigo climbs through the ventilation window. He enters Henrietta's bedroom. He finds her asleep. He raises a blunt object, investigators never determined exactly what, and brings it down on her head. The blow fractures her skull. He sexually assaults her. He robs the apartment, and then he leaves. But Henrietta does not die immediately. She is found alive the next morning, unconscious, with catastrophic head injuries. She is rushed to the hospital. Doctors do everything they can, but her brain is too severely damaged. For 18 days, Henrietta O. lies in a coma. She never regains consciousness. On August 1st, 1991, she dies. Her grandmother, sleeping in the next room, never heard the attack. Henrietta's death shakes the city. She was young, talented, and strong, and it did not matter. The killer is still out there. March 4th, 1992. Evening. Ondrej Rigo goes to the Dukla Cinema on Trnavska Street in Bratislava. He is with his girlfriend. They watch a film together just like a normal couple. After the film, they board a trolleybus heading home. But then, suddenly, Rigo tells his girlfriend that he needs to take care of something. He gets off the trolleybus. He walks away into the darkness. He does not come home until the next morning. That night, he makes his way to Gorkeho Street in the center of Bratislava. He finds the apartment of 67-year-old Matilda Urbanova. She lives alone. Her window is slightly open. Rigo climbs through. He attacks Matilda as she sleeps. He beats her to death. He sexually assaults her corpse. He steals jewelry and cash from the apartment. And then he leaves. This is his 9th murder. It will also be his last. March 4th, 1992. Only a few hours after Matilda Urbanova's murder, Carlton Hotel, Franciscan Square, Bratislava City Center, Ondrej Rigo is at work. He works as a cloakroom attendant at the hotel. Police arrive. They place him under arrest. When officers detain him, they immediately notice something strange. He is not wearing socks. They look at his shoes. There is blood on them. They look at his trousers. There is blood on them too. They search his personal locker at the hotel. Inside, they find jewelry. That jewelry belongs to Matilda Urbanova. Former investigator Josef Vachalik later described Rigo's state at the moment of arrest. He said Rigo seemed to be in a kind of trance, like a snake that had just swallowed its prey. He did not panic. He did not resist. He simply looked at the officers with a strange, detached calm. But the physical evidence is overwhelming. From crime scenes across Bratislava, Munich, and Amsterdam, police have collected cigarette butts, biological material, and traces of saliva. For the first time in the history of Slovakia, investigators use DNA analysis as a key piece of evidence in a major criminal trial. They compare the DNA from the crime scenes with DNA taken from Ondrej Rigo. It is a perfect match. The same biological signature links him to murders in 3 countries. The same modus operandi, entry through ground floor windows, blunt force trauma to the head, post-mortem sexual abuse, theft of valuables, and the use of socks to avoid leaving fingerprints. Police from Germany, the Netherlands, and Slovakia begin to cooperate. The picture becomes clear. 1 man, 3 countries, 9 murders. Psychiatric experts are brought in to evaluate Ondrej Rigo. They conduct extensive interviews and psychological tests. Their diagnosis: schizoid personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and necrophilia, a rare and dangerous paraphilia, sexual attraction to dead bodies, particularly those with severe head trauma. In interviews, Rigo insists that he was never violent with his consensual sexual partners. He says he enjoyed normal sex. He says he treated women well. But the crime scenes tell a completely different story. 9 people dead, 9 bodies violated, 9 families destroyed. Psychologists conclude that Rigo's capacity for rehabilitation is extremely limited. He has no empathy. He has no remorse. He has no ability to conform to societal norms. The prognosis is clear. He will never be safe to release. In preparing for the trial, Slovak police even consult with FBI profilers to build a psychological portrait of the unknown killer who terrorized Bratislava. The profile matches Ondrej Rigo almost perfectly. December 7th, 1994, Bratislava City Court. After 10 days of testimony, witness statements, forensic presentations, and legal arguments, the presiding judge, Peter Shamko, is ready to deliver the verdict. The courtroom is packed. Journalists, victims' families, law enforcement officials, and sitting in the center of it all, Ondrej Rigo. Judge Shamko reads the charges: 9 counts of murder, sexual assault, robbery, breaking and entering. The evidence is overwhelming. The case file contains 5,500 pages of documentation. The court has heard testimony from 194 witnesses, including witnesses from Germany and the Netherlands. DNA evidence, forensic analysis, victim identification, stolen property recovered from Rigo's possession. All of it points to one conclusion. Judge Shamko delivers the verdict: guilty on all counts. He explains the reasoning behind the sentence. The murders were committed in an especially cruel manner. The number of victims was very high. The sexual component was extreme and deviant. And the psychiatric reports agree, resocialization is virtually impossible. The court sentences Ondrej Rigo to life imprisonment in the strictest security category available under Slovak law. There is no possibility of parole. Rigo sits motionless As the verdict is read, he leans slightly forward. His face shows no emotion, no tears, no anger, no remorse. He appeals the verdict. On February 27, 1996, the Supreme Court of Slovakia hears his case. A representative of the General Prosecutor's Office argues that the life sentence should be upheld. On February 28, 1996, the Supreme Court rejects Rigo's appeal and confirms the original judgment. There will be no further appeals. Throughout the entire process, from arrest to final judgment, Ondrej Rigo never confesses to a single murder. He maintains his innocence, despite the DNA, despite the stolen jewelry, despite the blood on his shoes. He never admits what he did. After sentencing, Ondrej Rigo is transferred to Ilava prison. Later, he is moved to Leopoldov, one of the highest security prisons in Slovakia. He spends the rest of his life in a small cell, isolated from society, remembered only as a predator. On June 14, 2022, at the age of 66, Ondrej Rigo dies in a prison hospital in Trenčín. He never confessed. He never apologized. He never explained why. 9 lives, 9 families destroyed. Helena S., 40 years old, Munich, Germany, June 7th to 8th, 1990. Ilka Z., 27 years old, Munich, Germany, July 31st, August 1st, 1990. Ludmila H., 36 years old, Amsterdam, Netherlands, September 27th to 28th, 1990. Teresia R., 88 years old, Bratislava, Slovakia, October 6th, 1990. Anna P., 40 years old, and her son Juraj N., 14 years old, Bratislava, Slovakia, January 3rd, 1991. Františka K., 79 years old, Bratislava, Slovakia, January 25th, 1991. Henrietta O., 22 years old, Bratislava, Slovakia, July 14th, 1991. Died August 1st, 1991. Matilda Urbanova, 67 years old, Bratislava, Slovakia, March 4th, 1992. For 18 months, a man moved silently across Europe, climbing through open windows, killing without mercy, and disappearing into the night. He left behind DNA evidence, stolen property, and terror. He was caught, he was convicted, he was imprisoned for life, and he died without ever admitting what he had done. This is the true story of Ondrej Rigo, the spider of Bratislava, the sock killer, one of the most prolific serial killers in modern European history.